friends. Welcome to Quarantine Kitchen. My name is Liz. I'm a friend of Chef Holly, and it is a privilege to be with you tonight to share with you one of my family's favorite recipes, Thursday night meat sauce. I'll share with you the background of that name in a moment, but for now, let's get cooking. So I have a good sized saucepan here. I'm gonna heat it up on medium high and add some olive oil. Let that warm up. It always feels like an accomplishment when I've used this much olive oil up. I feel like I've been cooking for a long time. So as that's warming up, or about hot, I'm gonna add my onions. It might be a little bit early. I should have waited until they start to sizzle, but for these purposes, this is just fine. There's that wonderful sound. And I'm going to start right away adding in some salt, as that will help draw out the water from the vegetables and help to soften them. I don't wait too long before I start to add my other vegetables because it takes a while for everything to cook down, and I want all the vegetables really soft even before I add my meat. So I'm going to add my celery first. I'd say all my vegetables are about cup and a half of vegetables, just because I like to make a big sauce because it provides for a lot of leftovers. So there's my celery and my carrots. And the reason I put in the celery and the carrots first is they simply take longer to soften than the rest of the vegetables. And as I add my layers of vegetables, I will continue to add my seasonings, salt, pepper, and I'm using today granulated garlic. Even though fresh garlic is preferred, this is what I have in the kitchen today. So I'm going to do a layer of my salt and a layer of my freshly ground black pepper. My family likes a lot of seasoning. I'm not sure if we have defective taste buds and just need a lot of flavor, or if it's just what we enjoy, but this is what we do. I'm going to give this a little bit of time to soften, and I will let you know the story behind Thursday night meat sauce. When I was new at creating my menu for the week, every Thursday was this pasta meat sauce. I think by the time Thursday came, I was kind of out of creative ideas, and this made a great big meal that would carry over the next day for leftovers, giving me a jump on the weekend to not be completely exhausted cooking every day. So I'm gonna come back to you guys in just a moment when the celery and the carrots and the onions have softened nicely, and then we will add in our other ingredients. And welcome back. Now that the harder vegetables have softened, let's add in, I call them softer vegetables. I don't know if that's correct, but we have one good sized diced orange bell pepper, 2 zucchini that I quarter and then dice. My goal with all of my vegetables is to cut them about the same size so that they cook evenly. Now this is, excuse me, something in my eye. This is something I add every once in a while. It is Swiss chard, rainbow chard, and it's from our garden. And I add this when I have it in the garden or when it's in season. I like the added flavor. The only thing to watch for is it does add some more liquid to your sauce, which I will remove later. And one other fun thing about the rainbow chard is it has beautiful colors, if you can see there. I do chop up the stems, which are deep purple and red and yellow. Swiss chard, being so colorful, is full of vitamins and all sorts of good things. So this is another point where I'm going to add another layer of my pepper, my salt, and this is about the time where I will add some of my granulated California garlic. And here's a little tip. When you're adding your seasoning over steam, I don't like to use this because it gets all bunched up, because the steam bunches it up. So I carefully use this opening. Again, my family likes a lot of flavor. I sprinkle it over. There you go. And now that my kids have gotten older, I have been able to add another layer of flavor that my husband really enjoys, that is the crushed red pepper. If my husband had it his way, I would add a ton, but my younger daughter doesn't like too much spice, so I just do a sprinkling of these crushed red pepper flakes, the same kind you would use on pizza, but it adds a great depth of flavor to this meat sauce. And I'm going to give that a stir, and I'm going to let this continue to cook down for a good 5 minutes until the vegetables have cooked down a fair amount. And when we come back, you will see actually how much it reduces, and the quantity looks a fair amount less in the pan. Once they've cooked down, we will add the ground turkey. So I'll see you in a bit. Hi guys, the vegetables have cooked down beautifully and it smells wonderful in here. This being my first cooking video, I forgot something. The good news about many meals, you can add it as you go. Italian seasoning. A good pinch of that in your sauce adds, again, more flavor. When my oldest was little, she liked one of my meals and told me I should write a cookery book. Well, little one, I don't have a cookery book, but this is my first cookery video, and I'm glad you're all here to join me with it. All right, now that these vegetables are so colorful and they are cooked down, it is time to add my ground turkey. It's a pound of ground turkey. I thawed it earlier, and this is where I simply slide the vegetables toward the back. I don't even add any more olive oil, and I put that ground turkey right there. Set this in the sink. Really important to not cross-contaminate any food, so I take that plate that had the ground turkey juices, put it right in the sink, directly into the dishwasher. And before my wooden spoon burns, setting it here, this is where I'm going to add another layer of my salt, pepper, granulated garlic, and even a little bit of crushed red pepper because I love my husband. All right, get our salt, a little bit of pepper. And I wish you could see my arm. After cooking this meal so many years, I no longer have much hair in the upper part of my arm because it's all singed off. I don't know if you wanted to know that, but that's for free. All right, here is my granulated garlic and a touch more of my crushed red pepper. And that is my seasoning. I'm gonna set this back here. All right. I've really enjoyed setting up for this cooking show because when I started cooking, everything was chopped in a bowl and set to go. Now, if only I could hire somebody to do that for me every week, I would cook a lot more. All right, so the way I brown this meat, I simply push the vegetables to one side, brown the meat toward the front, and when we come back, the meat and the vegetables will be stirred together and everything will be browned and soft and ready for the sauces. See you in a moment. Hi guys, welcome back. This looks amazing and it smells as good as it looks. Everything is combined. The meat is browned, the vegetables are soft. So at this point, I'm going to turn the heat down, even a little lower. And one thing I love about this meal are the colors. If you can see the greens and the oranges, I should mention the carrots were from our garden this year. So we have some beautiful orange carrots in there. And a way that you can change this up every week is the bell pepper that you use. Bell peppers can be green, red, orange, or yellow. It is the same pepper in different stages of ripeness. The red is the most ripe and the sweetest. The green is your least ripe, and the middle are your yellow and your orange. So for this meal today, I chose an orange bell pepper. I think it goes beautifully with the green zucchini and the orange carrots. So at this point, I check for something. Sometimes, depending on how many vegetables I've used, the water content or the liquid content seems to be different. If there's too much liquid in this sauce, I will simply ladle some off into a cup before I add the tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, and tomato paste because I like my sauce thicker and not as runny. I'm going to turn the heat off at this point and check for any extra liquid. Carefully tilt it. I push the food back, and if you can see that, there's just a little bit of liquid there. but I'll go ahead and take it out. I'm actually going to switch hands here because I'm right-handed and I do not want to splash hot liquid by using my left hand. So I carefully scoot that back, ladle out some of that liquid. The liquid probably tastes amazing. And again, there are some weeks I have a ton of liquid that needs to come out, not a lot of liquid here, so we're going to move on. I'm going to turn my heat just to low at this point and continue stirring, because this is the point where we are going to add our tomato products. If you're in a pinch and you just have a jar of tomato sauce or pre-made tomato sauce, go for that. I use 2 cans of actual tomato sauce, and I'm going to turn the heat off now because if I recall, if I start adding the sauce while this is on, it starts to bubble and I get tomato sauce all over the kitchen and I don't feel like cleaning. So 2 cans of your favorite plain tomato sauce. There's 1. There's 2. 2 cans of diced tomatoes drained. I open my diced tomatoes, pour them into the colander, shake them, and here they are. Some liquid left, no problem. And I use a lot of tomato paste. Oftentimes I see recipes say use 1 or 2 scoops of tomato paste. I go for almost the whole can. Again, my children are growing and they eat a lot, so anything I can do to extend this meal, I'll do it. Now at this point, I do want to do one more layer of my salt and my pepper and a little bit more Italian seasoning. Here's my salt. Here's my pepper. Again, we are not afraid of flavor in our family. A little bit more Italian seasoning. If you are using a jar of pre-made sauce, it will probably already have this seasoning in it. You don't need to add it. I add a fair amount of flavorings because I'm using canned tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, nothing pre-made. Now, I have one trick. When I make this sauce, I add almost a 1/4 cup, a little less, of just granulated white sugar. The reason I do that, it cuts through, no, not a full 1/4 cup, maybe a little more than 1/8 of a cup. That's a lot of sugar. A 1/4 cup's a lot of sugar, don't use that much. But a little bit of sugar in your tomato sauce will cut the acidity of those tomatoes, and it just gives a wonderful flavor, especially balanced with the spicy red pepper flakes and the salt and the pepper and everything. So now I'm going to bring my heat up just a little bit, and I'm going to slowly start to stir everything. I'm simply combining, and once the tomato sauce, the diced tomatoes, and the tomato paste are combined with the meat and the vegetables, I'm going to cover it and simmer it. If you're in a rush, you can simmer this for 10 to 15 minutes and eat it, or you can simmer it for an hour or more. The longer you simmer, the more it deepens the flavor. And another great thing about this meal, this is a 1-pot meal. You have your meat and your vegetables. When I serve this to my family, I don't make a salad. I don't do any steamed vegetables on the side. And if you have kids of your own, this is a great way to get your kids to eat a ton of vegetables, because by the time this is done and put over some pasta, they love it. I'm not going to be cooking the pasta today because my family's going to eat this tomorrow. It actually tastes better after being in the fridge for a day. My favorite pasta to put this over is penne. I just think the penne is great with this thick sauce, but you can use any noodles you like. So now that it is well incorporated, I'm going to keep it on a medium-low heat, and I'm going to cover it, but when I cover it, I'm going to leave a little opening for the steam to escape, and then every few minutes I'll uncover it, stir it, so when we come back, this sauce will have been simmering for a while, and I'll show you how it looks. Hi guys, now that my sauce has been simmering for just a couple of minutes, I want to give it a taste, see if it needs any more spices or flavors. All right, let's not burn my mouth here. Yeah, that tastes good. Take that dirty spoon into the sink And here's my final tip on how I simmer my sauce. As I mentioned, I simmer it medium high, halfway covered, well, mostly covered, a little bit uncovered for the steam to escape. After about 10-15 minutes of that, I will give it one final stir, cover it again, about 10 seconds while the heat is still continuing and I can hear it bubbling. Then I turn the heat completely off and I let it sit there 10, 15, 30 minutes, get some dishes done, get ready for dinner. It's sitting here in a hot pan. It's called carryover cooking. It will continue to develop flavors and continue to cook, but there's nothing on the stovetop. I don't have to worry about kiddos coming in, coming out. When it's time to eat, make your pasta, ladle it up, and enjoy. So thank you guys for joining me here today. It was a privilege, and I hope you try my Thursday night meat sauce too.